It's really easy when you've climbed the traditional ladder to do marketing, quote unquote, landing pages and sales funnels. But if you're coming from the South Bronx, the poorest area in the country, hype isn't considered a bad thing. It's what you have to do. Right. And that doesn't mean lying. That means generating a ton of excitement to shortcut the traditional structures that we all play within.
Well, but now you got guys like, Andrew Tate, that has built this personality, right? Like, that's not how he really is, right? But that's the show he puts on out there to drum up. Now, I think he's in prison right now, but he went to prison. Right?
That's what I hear. Yeah.
I think he's still in jail waiting to go to prison. So.
Okay. All right. Well,
in Romania, which is where I'd want to be in prison.
Right. But that's a case of a guy taking hype way too fucking far, right? He built this character, he built this persona up, and I think he's actually doing harmful shit, legitimately harmful.
Not even a question. Not even a question. You have to look at what he's preaching, though. It's not so much the hype. I mean, Andy Warhol created a character, but if you're a fan of art, he did it for a cool reason. Andrew Tate is allegedly a sex trafficker. And the message that he sells is about how to take advantage of women, So he created a character to advance, like you said, really harmful shit.
Yep.
Yeah, because some young kid's going to hear his fucking message and think that's how you should treat women. And fuck you. Any dude who treats a chick like that needs to get his fucking ass whooped.
It's gross. It's disgusting.
So flip it a little bit then, if we know this hype methodology works, it's a real thing. You can use it in sales, you can use it in conferences and the like, and there's some real extreme value. I think, at the end of the day, selling is really about helping, somebody make a decision, right?
Right.
They wouldn't be sitting across from you if there was an interest. They just don't know if you're the service, you're the product, you're the person. And so every time you're sitting there, you're not actually selling, you're helping them make a decision. Hype can play into it if you use it for the proper way. So how do I use hype in my business to not take advantage of people, but actually use it for good, productive results?
I guess there's two ways of answering this, right? One is the ethical part. And what I make a very strong point to do in my own life, and what I constantly drum into the heads of my clients, is that you need to set up an ethical framework. And if I meet with someone who I think is paying me lip service on that, I won't work with them. And mine is pretty simple. It's never deceive, or never use these things to deceive, and never leave people worse off than you found them. So if you say to me, well, this is hype, of course you have to deceive. Well, then you're missing the point, right? This is not called the liar's handbook, right? This is about getting people emotional so that they can make a good decision. So that's the first thing. And then I guess the second thing is something I often say to clients in a sales scenario, is that I admit one thing that I've never heard another marketer admit, and that's that no marketer, including me, knows what they're doing. And then I pause and they always laugh, And so then I follow up. And what I mean by that is that you can have a knack at what we're calling hype here, or what people call marketing. You can understand the technology. You can get to the bottom of it quicker than other people. But the idea that if you do 3 LinkedIn posts a day, follow it up with a landing page, and have a certain kind of email letter, that's always going to work, that's ridiculous. The minute people know that formula, it's already obsolete. So the framework I use is, we know there are these mass psychology principles. I've practiced them, but also I'm a bit of a nerd, and I was a nerd before I was anything else. So I've read countless books and papers and sort of extracted the principles. However, if we know that there's a certain hype strategy, right? Make war, not love, I call it, that people respond more to being against something than being for something, and you need a strong point of view. You don't know what form that's going to work in. So you know that that's better than not doing it, but you could do that 5, 6, 7 different ways and it could bomb. So the trick is to have a controlled process of running experiments very quickly and knowing and killing them the second they show that they're not getting closer to your goal. and then create. And once you hit your goals with an experiment, to blow it up, right? So you don't just randomly do experiments. You base them on human psychology. But what's going to give you an advantage is doing the thing that people haven't tried before, doing the thing that seems like it might fail, right? Not just following the path. So it's that combination of having an ethical framework, understanding the broad principles instead of, hey, let's do another Clubhouse room or an Instagram just because everyone else is doing that. And then having a process to quickly run and assess experiments and cut the ones that don't work and accelerate the ones that do. Now, you should know the tools, right? I mean, technology is a great amplifier, and systems are important. But I think people start in the reverse order. They start with Instagram and then work backwards to the hype or the marketing. You should start with the principles and then match the tool to the principle.